Why not welcome the diversity? Embrace the diversity.
Because
we learn from each other.
Okay, first of all, it's a Jewish state. It's not supposed to be a diverse state. It's supposed to be a state for Jews, right? That's number one. No, right, that's number one. And number two is that those Arabs are all aligned with each other, and they hate us. So, what's the point?
Maybe if we hug them.
Oh.
Every day, like we give them a hug.
I need to go to sensitivity training.
Yeah, I think you do need to get it. Have you ever had sensitivity training?
Alright, next thing. Back to the Torah.
Awareness of being strangers in Egypt left a profound impression on the Jewish consciousness. And is
What?
the source of numerous statements in the Torah, such as to love the stranger.
Oh, that. I see how we segued. Love the stranger, but that, you know what the stranger is? We talked about that. The stranger in the Torah, when the Torah is a stranger, means a ger. It means somebody who actually had a kosher 100% from conversion and became a from Jew, like Levi.
Well, the Torah says
Levi,
because you were strangers in Egypt.
Wait! I'm making a point. I got 2 sentences to go. Levi is the Torah definition of a stranger, because he is a halachic ger and he lives amongst you, and the Torah says we have to love the ger. The ger the convert gets special status in Jewish world.
That's what they were hearing. Like they hear like Rab sucking on his breath mint. He goes, Rab's is giving Levi special love that the Torah commands us to give the convert.
Can you pull your head out of the toilet for 5 minutes? I'm glad you make yourself laugh. I mean, that's just...
Well, but the Torah says that you were strangers in Egypt.
Right.
Love the stranger because you were strangers in Egypt. The Jews weren't converts in Egypt.
Well, okay, let's see if we can just answer this balabatish. Answer simple, okay? You are a Jew now, right? Are you not?
Yes.
But you're not really blood related to any of us.
Correct.
Right? I don't have any of your DNA.
Correct.
Right? Except for when I sucked you off.
That's disgusting. You're such a pervert. Oh, that is so wrong. Oh.
I got you on that one. Alright. So we have different DNA, do we not?
Yes.
We're totally different people. So you, in a way, are not related. I'm like, okay, all the people on your block who are Jews, it doesn't matter if they're from Persians or Russians or Israelis, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter where they're from. Somehow or another, I'm related to them all, right?
Yeah.
And like Ashkenazis all look alike,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We all look alike, right?
Yeah.
And but even the Spartan and the Moroccans and all these people, they're not that different looking from me, right? We all have like common ancestries, right? So you might feel like you're a total stranger amongst us. By the way, is the name of
Sometimes I do, yeah.
You're going to be like Melanie Griffith,
yeah.
right? You're like living in Williamsburg.
Yeah.
You're trying to play the part, right?
Yeah.
But you don't really feel like you're part of this. You don't look like us. You know, you don't talk like us, right? You don't have like the whole Jew thing going on, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like you're bringing it from the outside. So the Torah says we have to embrace you. Why?
Right.
Why do we embrace you?
Because I'm a girl.
Because you're a
The
ger.
Torah says so.
Because we had that feeling when we were living in Mitzrayim. Because you see, there was a famine in those days. You know about the famine?
Mm.
The whole world was a famine, and everybody had to come down to Egypt. This was God's plan, and live under Joseph. This was the whole plan. So everybody was down there. So the whole entire world was back in one country again. It was down in Egypt, right? Okay, so the Jews are a very small part. We went down there with 75 people or something, 70 people, right? We came out with millions, but when we were there, we went down with 70 people, and we're like, with millions of people, right? And we don't fit in. We don't look the same. We don't act the same. We have our own way of talking. We have our own language. I mean, so we don't fit in. We don't blend.
Do I smell like a Jew?
No, but you do smell bad. But that's because you got your...
Yeah, that's me!
Why? No, but show everybody your feet. So that's because he got his. You know, this guy doesn't wear shoes.
Do I smell like a Jew?
I don't know what a Jew smells like. I don't know.
Kind of like garlic.
I was thinking like a filter fish.
Why are so many Russian women whores?
But is that from Haim Malek?
Somewhere in there, but I thought it was a good point. Like, a lot of them are really hot till they're 30, and then they get fat and mustaches. I'm trying to work that out.
You know what? I have no opinion on that. Can't help you there.
Go ahead.
Is Ginger on?
Yeah, Ginger's in there. But
Ginger needs to watch the replay of this because I answered your questions from last week's chat before you came in late tonight.
And feel free to just type in with your own ideas either via email or in the chat about why are so many Russian women whores and why are so many of them really hot up until about age 30, then they get really fat and get mustaches. I'm trying to figure that out. Why is this true?
Who's left in the chat room? Did we chase them all out?
No, we got like bumper crop. We got like 8 people. We got Ginger and Ellen, PhD in psychology from UCLA.
Wow. Okay.
Dennis Prager says, the greatest human task is to see people different from us as fully human. One of the few places to embark on this task is America. Now, was it hard for you, Rabbi Rabs, to grow up to see other groups as fully human? Say blacks or women or Reform Jews?
Reform Jews, I don't see them as human beings at all.
Do you have any friends who are Reform or Conservative Jews? Or Reconstructionist Jews?
I don't say that there is a such thing as them. There's Jews, okay? Remember, I don't use these terms. There's just, in my book, in the Torah book, there's Jews, and there's Jews that are Torah observant, and there's Jews that are not. And I have many friends or whatever who are Jews who are not Torah observant.
Was it?
I don't play your labels game.
Was it hard for you to learn to relate to black people when you were growing up?
Who saw black people?
You didn't see any? How old were you before you had your first intimate exchange with a black person? Or have you yet had one? You've yet to have one. You're 50 years old and you've yet to
I've never met a black
person.
Well, my cable guy yesterday was black. Came in the house. We rapped for a while.
Yeah?
Hi. It's the first time I ever saw a black guy.
Now, the reason that Russian women get fat around 30 is because they end up marrying, then they do all the cooking and constantly rotate around the kitchen food. They gain weight, and the stress of their husband's alcoholism drives them to adopt male features like rough facial features and mustaches.
Okay, that was written by Gregory?
Yes.
That counts because he's Russian.
Yeah.
So he would know. He's talking about his mom.
We're not going to touch Gregory's mom.
No.
So how come today Raz pronounces Torah, but on other days she pronounces it Torah? Is there these different books, Torah and Torah?
Is that Ellen?
Yeah.
He's already getting on my nerves. I don't know. I'm not even conscious of how I pronounce it. So.
Do you find any comfort with Genesis being filled with dysfunctional families and imperfect people?
I don't know because Genesis is not filled with dysfunctional people and
Cain murders his brother Abel.
You need to understand. We've spoken about this before at length. The people in Tanakh are tzaddikim. They are not people who. What did you say? Dysfunctional. And what was the other word? You took the screen off. And you're not going to make it impossible for me to remember that word.
Oh, dysfunctional and imperfect people.
There are no imperfect people. They're all tzaddikim. They're perfect people. Okay, Torah. It's a common thing that the Torah treats. Scripture treats righteous people as if they are wicked. And one of the things it does is it takes events that happen that are often arguments within Torah that people are having with each other, and it blows it up into what's called like a parable. And it makes it sound like somebody's doing something really terrible. And we learned this with like Tamar and Yehuda. We talked about it. Remember this a few weeks ago? It makes Tamar sound like she's a whore and she's running around screwing a whole bunch of guys, right? And Yehuda is supposed to be